Okay, good. I am now recording. I'm Therese Stahl. Welcome, everyone. And this is a parent meeting about the upcoming faith formation year for the lower grades. So I welcome you to this evening. I am here as well as Christy Lohr, who is the coordinator of faith formation, and Christy is going to monitor the chat box if you'd like to put in questions at any time while I'm speaking. Please do so in the chat box. We'll also have an opportunity to ask questions live and in person there on your video. So I just wanted to give you that option. And we are going to cover grades 1 through 5 in this call. We do plan on offering preschool, kindergarten, and special needs as well. And if there's time at the end, if you have any questions about those programs, I'd be happy to answer them, or else you can touch base with me at a later time. So the great news is that we do anticipate being able to hold on-site classes once again in September. Right now, the diocese is saying that we can have a 60% full classroom. And we just anticipate that that will be, 100% by the time fall rolls around because of the amazing science behind that vaccination happening. So I just want to go kind of step by step of what we're planning. So we're offering 2 options for grades 1, 3, 4, and 5, and then 2 options for grade 2. And the options actually are very similar to what we offered pre-pandemic, which would be an on-site versus a all-home study. The only difference is that that on-site is also a hybrid with home study. I'll explain that a little bit more. So for grades 1, 3, 4, and 5, option 1 is a combination of a once a month on-site lesson for both the parents and the children come together, very similar to our once a month family faith gatherings. During those gatherings, they'll be a little different because we're going to have everybody gather together at the start, and then the children will go down to the lower level to a grade level class, and the parents will stay gathered, and then at the end, everybody will come back together again. During the grade level class, the children will be presented a lesson by one of our volunteer catechists. And during the parent gathering time, concurrent with that grade level class, I'll talk to the parents about presenting a lesson at home at some point in the rest of the month. Usually the family faith time will be early in the month. Usually it's going to be the first Sunday or Wednesday, but that depends on the calendar. And then families will have the rest of the month to complete the at-home lesson. If you were in the program this year for those grades, we'll be using the same curriculum, A Family of Faith. It was that orange book that you had. And this past year, we focused on Christian prayer. We're doing a different volume of that particular curriculum, so we will be focused on what's called the profession of faith, or in other words, the creed, what we believe. So that if you remember from the orange book, there were 2 lessons per month. That first lesson will be covered in the classroom, and then that second lesson will be covered at home by the parents. And while the kids meet in the classroom to learn that first lesson, I'll be discussing tips with the parents on how to communicate that second lesson. So there'll be a lot more assistance, hands-on live from the parish, because we can gather together and the parents can talk and communicate with each other about how best to present that at-home lesson. So for grade 2, it's again kind of similar in that grade 2 also participates in that family faith time. That first week of the month, usually both parents and children in grade 2 will meet in a family faith gathering, and the children will go down in the middle of that gathering to their grade level classroom, and the parents will stay gathered, and either I or someone else will talk to them about what is happening in the classroom that month, and what the expectations are for going over the family pages at home. It's a different curriculum, a different book series. You probably wouldn't be familiar if you have a grade 2 child, or you're preparing a child for the sacraments next year, this coming year. You probably hadn't done that this year, unless you have kids back to back. But it is a book that is specifically designed for a classroom curriculum. And then, so that option 1 includes that for grade 2, that family lesson, that family faith time with time in the classroom 2 or 3 more times per month. The classroom time on the second and third week would be just the child, not the parent. The parents would come only for that first family faith gathering. For both levels, or for all grades 1 through 5, we have that second option of all at home, home study. We've offered that every year over the past 8 years since I've been at the parish. I just figured out I'm coming upon my 9th year. So it's similar in that, you will receive materials and present lessons at home study, and you won't have to come on site at all. So for grades 1 through 5, you can choose either Sunday mornings from 9 a.m. to 10:15. That's consistent from previous years. Or you can choose Wednesday evenings. We've moved the Wednesday evening program later into the evening, 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m., so that it is concurrent with our middle school program. Middle school will meet 6 p.m. to 7:30, and so that families with children in both programs can coordinate their traveling a bit. So again, for the grades 1, 3, 4, and 5, the Wednesday evenings, if you choose Wednesdays, 6 p.m. to 7:15, will only be once per month. For grade 2, if you choose the Wednesday evenings, the parents would be there once per month with the children, 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. And then the children would be there 1 or 2 additional weeks in the month, 6 p.m. to 7:15. And I'll show a calendar in a moment to kind of help you conceptualize that. If you have children in both programs, obviously one child ends 15 minutes earlier than the other. You're welcome to wait in the Hoffman Center or the Hermes Media Center for your middle school child to complete the program. You could stop in the chapel and pray, or the church to pray, or you could, run out to your car, warm that up in the middle of the winter, and be ready to leave when your middle school child is out. We are also adding a 5 p.m. parish mass on the 4th Sundays of each month, beginning in September, followed by a potluck and family faith activities. The parish mass, we hope that at 5 p.m. on that 4th Sunday will be very family focused in terms of music and homily, and also the ministers at the mass. We would love to have families be greeters and lectors and that sort of thing. And so we'll be releasing more information about that. And the first month of that, we'll provide the dinner for you. And then the subsequent months, we will invite people to do a potluck for that. And that will also be followed. The dinner time will have some family faith activities at the tables. And then we'll probably enhance it a little bit some months, like for instance, the month of December, well, we're actually not going to meet the month of December, but the month of November, I would love to do something Thanksgiving oriented or nativity oriented, that sort of thing, in looking ahead to Advent and that sort of thing. So that is a nice opportunity for community. There's two things that we definitely wanted to hold up in importance with the year coming up. And one of them is what we've been emphasizing for several years now, and that is your role as moms and dads, or as guardians who love their children. Your role in passing on the faith is vital. And research has showed that the more you as parents are involved in sharing faith with children, the more children realize faith is relevant and it becomes meaningful to their children. And anything that we can do to make faith relevant and meaningful will help ensure that that faith sticks. And I want to say a special call out to the dads on the call, because the involvement of fathers is like a super uber charger in terms of faith stickiness. Children who see their fathers involved in faith, that's very meaningful to them, and it speaks to them and helps again with that faith catching on with the children. Again, research shows that about 11 or 12 years old is when a child sort of makes a conscious decision of whether or not they believe in what is being taught, and kind of whether or not they're they're gonna play, and whether or not they're gonna participate. 11 and 12 years old. So this is a pretty young age. And so we really wanted in the parish to focus on the lower grades in terms of doing everything we can to make sure that faith is transferred and passed into children in a meaningful way. And like I said, the role of moms and dads is so important in that. We also wanted to hold up the role of the classroom catechist. The Pope has just made the catechist role a kind of a formal ministry in the church, so we know it is a vital one for passing on the faith to our children. Catechists are well-formed, they live an intentional faith, and they're an additional adult who models faith to our children. So we wanted to do a combination of both the catechist and the parent. And the big message that I wanted to share with you is, yes, we've made the change of getting away from week-to-week classrooms for everything but second grade. But that is not because of the pandemic. It's not because we can't bring kids, onto the campus, or it's not because we didn't want to risk transmission of the virus. Instead, it is the trajectory that we have been moving on over the past 5 years in the parish. If you remember, if some of you are oldies, we started Family Faith Gatherings as a supplement to the program on Saturday mornings after Mass a couple times a year. And we had, some good participation in that. That was year one. And then the next year, we added family faith gatherings as an expectation of the program 4 times a year. And then eventually it became monthly. And so we just kind of eased you in further and further, deeper and deeper into being on campus with your children talking faith. Ideally, faith is an organic thing that happens at home. And so ideally, those faith conversations that are happening during the family faith gatherings happen at home around your dinner table, you know, as you're making dinner, as you're in the car driving around, as you're in the backyard playing. Those faith conversations happen naturally. You see something, you remark about it to your child, and you share faith. Your child sees something and says, that reminds me of, and talks about faith. So ideally, moving those faith conversations, you know, not only happening at church, but also happening in your family, which they do, we know they do, is what we want to happen. And in this way, it is a facilitated conversation. You can be intentional about it, intentional about having those conversations at home, and you have the content there in the materials that you know is a good, strong Catholic faith content. So that's what we will talk about during those parent portions of the family faith gatherings, talking how to raise those issues, how to talk to your children about that, and how to complete those activities. Okay, I've talked a lot. I want to share my screen so that you have a visual. This is the October calendar. It looks a little different than what I had shared online. So hopefully you can all see my screen here. This is for grades preschool through 5, and we also have our special needs calendar thrown up here. So this is October, and it's not been officially approved yet, so I haven't officially released it. We have our calendaring meeting in early June, and everything is approved then. We all sit around a table and kind of say, well, you know, I want this date, you want that date, and then it gets approved, and we move forward. So this is, though, a typical month, and you'll see a couple different events here. Purple is our on-site family faith gathering for our lower grades, grades 1 through 5, and it happens once per month. It's Sunday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m., or Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. Children go to class in the middle of the session, and parents stay gathered. Another event here is the additional on-site grade 2 classes where children only are in the classroom. You'll see on-site preschool through kindergarten, our special needs. You'll see the 5 p.m. family mass and potluck. And on Wednesdays before the family faith gathering, we'll offer the opportunity for a low-cost dinner starting at 5:30. We know that that particular evening is going to be, might be pretty crazy for you to get to campus, and in this way you can have a dinner waiting for you. It'll be a pizza or pasta or chicken or something pretty basic, but it'll, you know, get you through the night. And it'll be at a lower cost to you. So if your child is in grades 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, hopefully you are because you're here on this call, the first Sunday of the month, if you register for Sundays, you will come for the on-site family faith, and that is where you will meet together, and then the children will go down to their classroom and the parents will stay gathered. If you register for Wednesdays in October, it would be October 6th that you come there, and you'd have that opportunity at 5:30, a half hour earlier, to come for dinner. Optional. That's totally optional, that dinner. So You'll notice that on Sundays, we also have our on-site preschool and kindergarten. We're going to have preschool and kindergarten every time we have the family faith gathering on Sundays, so that you guys with littler kids have some place for them to go. And also we'll just take that opportunity to talk faith with them. So if you're in grades 1, 3, 4, and 5, you attend this one time. And then the rest of the month, you have time to complete the second lesson in our book. And the second lesson will be choosing 2 activities, maybe 3, to communicate the key points of the lesson. And then at the end of the month, you will have, right here highlighted in blue, a monthly reflection due to submit. And everybody has that. I'll talk about that in a second. So if you're in grade 2, you attend the family gathering either on Sunday or Wednesday, but then your child comes a couple more times. They'll come on October 13th, and they'll come on October 20th. And if you're on Sunday, they'll come also on October 17th. Every once in a while, we'll have a special for grade 2 happening, mastering class in the chapel, in this case on Wednesdays, on the Wednesday. And then everyone is invited to the 5 p.m. family mass and potluck. We can all come back together on campus. You can see your friends in your classrooms. You can see other parents in your grade level or that you met at the family faith gathering, and you can see your catechists. Those are the opportunities. And again, grade 2 will also have a monthly reflection. If you are an all at home option, there's a little note for you here on the calendar. You'll present your lessons at home throughout the month, and then you'll submit the monthly reflection as well. And you are, of course, also encouraged to be part of our family mass and our potluck. And then you'll notice this calendar also has some, there's a parent meeting for first reconciliation, and then there's a monthly catechist meeting that that we'll hold for our catechists. So I hope this kind of visually represents what we're doing. I can show you October or November really quick. November, we've got our November 3rd, our family faith gathering for Wednesdays, and on November 7th for Sundays. And then grade 2 also comes on Sundays the 14th and the 21st, and on Wednesdays the 10th and the 17th. And everybody comes to the 5 p.m. potluck if you can, and then the monthly reflection is due. And we also have our special needs family faith gathering on usually that's the second Wednesday of the month. We've got a retreat thrown in there for first reconciliation. And we've got Thanksgiving. So can't believe we're already talking about Thanksgiving. So those are 2 months out of the year, just to kind of give you a visual representation. I'm going to stop presenting, and I'm going to go back over to my notes and see at this point if I don't think I've forgotten anything at this point. But I'm sure there are questions. Please go ahead and unmute yourself. Or Christy, is there anything that's happening in the chat box that would be good to talk about?
There was one question, but you actually answered it regarding if we anticipate 100% capacity, why not resume like what we did a year ago? And I think you already addressed that one. If you wanted to reiterate, why won't we go back to weekly classes and monthly family faith?
Yes. The reason is not a COVID reason. It is the reason of being of further embracing the role of parents as the primary catechist, but also providing support to parents to do that. So we learned during the pandemic that amazing, beautiful things. Well, I knew this, but maybe it's good to know like that it really is happening. Amazing, beautiful things happen in your family in terms of faith. We had heard that you were praying more because of the material, and you were talking about faith more because of the material. And so we want to keep those good things, but doing it, we understood that having the entire thing on you could be overwhelming. And it's not really what necessarily works. I mean, that second adult, oh my gosh, I apologize for my dog. That second adult in the classroom is a good model and is a good faith share. So we wanted to combine those two things and do what we felt was the best. And this model, by the way, is being supported by the diocese. It's being encouraged by the Rockford Diocese, and it's being encouraged on a national level by national catechetical organizations. That the family faith model, after years of doing a classroom drop off and seeing numbers kind of dwindle for various reasons, the church kind of has taken a look at itself and said, okay, here's the reality. Now, how do we help ourselves and not shoot ourselves in the foot? So that's what.
Okay. And Therese, there are two questions here that are, they kind of tie together. They're not exactly the same question, but okay. I'll pose them together. One is, will we have the option for a virtual teacher at home? And the second question that feeds right into that is, for those that didn't have support during the pandemic, like the support that they would have gotten, from that, direct classroom experience, it would be nice to have access to somebody at home during the rest of the month.
Yeah. We will ask our classroom catechists to reach out to all the parents in their classroom, mid-month or a couple times throughout the month, at least once throughout the month, to see how things are going and to help and give feedback and support. Because of the safe environment requirements by the diocese, we won't be doing that virtually. Anything that is done with children online through religious education in the Rockford Diocese needs to be recorded for your child's safety as well as the safety of the adult, and it needs to be monitored, by an adult. Obviously, you could monitor it as the parent, but I just don't want to get anybody into that situation where they're nervous about something like that. So I'm just going to say, as a rule, it won't be virtual, but it can be something that you do on the phone. It could be something where you and the catechist or several parents from the class decide to meet after church in the Hermes Media Center and talk about the lesson coming up. It could be something that is done on a conference telephone call with a number of parents. So yeah, there's definitely an opportunity for that support, and I hope that that people will take advantage of that. Did I answer that, Christine?
I think so.
Okay.
I'll watch to see if there's a follow-up to that. There's also a question about the 6th to 8th graders, and are they meeting every Wednesday?
Yeah, 6th to 7th grade are meeting every Wednesday. They will continue that. They have a dinner and games option before that, before 6 p.m. So I think that's 5:30 to 6 or 5 to 6. Don't quote me, but that information, actually, I'm going to look on the website right now what time that is. And then they do meet 6 to 7:30 p.m. most every Wednesday. I know they have one Wednesday off a month in order to have their leader meeting. Yeah. Oh, that's Sunday nights. I'm sorry. Yeah, 5 to 7:30 p.m. is when they're meeting. 5 to 6 p.m. is optional for students to eat dinner and play games. This is middle school. And then the program runs 6 to 7:30 p.m. And it is fairly weekly, except they do have that once off per month for their leader meeting.
And Therese, will the middle school, the 6th to 8th grade, will they do the family meetings with the other grades?
They will not. They are having their own program at 6 p.m. So our on Wednesdays, our family faith gatherings are starting at 6 p.m. and it's targeted toward the grades 1 through 5, and the middle school children, the middle school youth, will be on their own hearing a presentation and then going to their own classrooms during that time.
And could they attend a family faith on Sunday?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes, they could definitely attend. They would not go to a classroom though during the middle time. They could stay and learn with the parents, or consider maybe the middle school child would teach the younger sibling and learn how to do that in the family faith session. That'd be awesome if your child wanted to do that. And then like in 2 years when they're in high school, they could be in the classroom as an assistant.
There's a question I skipped over, so I'm going to go back to that one. And it was about the fees for religious ed. Will they be decreased?
They will not be decreased. They will not be increased. They are the same as last year, and the tuition, it's the fees themselves pretty much pay for the materials, the books and the Bibles. The tuition pays for the support that the parish provides in my office and in what we provide to you. It does not, the tuition does not pay for and cover the on-site catechist. So those are volunteers. So that is why the cost of tuition does not reflect, where the program is happening. I hope that makes sense. I have a level of professionalism that I bring and offer to you, and we have secretarial support, we have overhead, all that kind of stuff has to be provided for, and the tuition helps to cover that. It actually does not cover it all. So if we relied solely on tuition to cover what the cost is of the program to the parish, you wouldn't even want to be enrolled. You could go to the parish down the block. So I hope that makes sense.
It makes sense, and they appreciate all that you do. I'm not seeing any other comments, but maybe.
If anybody wants to, add in the chat box or unmute themselves and ask a question, please feel free. I want to say a thing about the family mass at 5 p.m. on the fourth Sunday of the month. We, as a parish, several years ago, and I don't even remember how many years ago it was, we stopped that family mass that we had at 10:30 in the Hoffman Center because we were noticing that the the it was just such a split in focus. We want families to be part of the community. I mean, you are the community. And so splitting you out just seemed to be unnatural, especially when we had a mass going on at the same time in the sanctuary that was built for mass. So having it in a gym-like atmosphere also seemed to distract, from the reverence and the sanctity of what was happening. That's why we brought everybody together at 10:30. But we realized, we knew right away, that you would miss that focus. But it takes us a little while to work things out, and we know that having a family focus where the homilies are family friendly, the music is a little more upbeat, maybe a little more appealing to young people and young parents, and where families can help with the mass. They can read, they can lecture. If you have a confirmed child, your teen can be a Eucharistic minister. Having that, we wanted to offer you that. We wanted that to be something to look forward to. And then, we know 5 p.m. might be a little late, so, why not have dinner right away afterwards? You can't really eat beforehand if you follow the Eucharistic fast, so, eat afterwards and stay around the parish and meet people and form community. So we want to offer you that, and it's optional. I mean, it's, I say an expectation of the program. I want you to be there, but it's optional. So we hope that you think about that in terms of your schedule and in terms of when you come. It will be once a month. It will be the fourth Sunday of each month. I think the only month, September through April, that we're not having it is December, because it's December. It's the day after Christmas. So we're not going to have that mass. But every other month we will through April. Other questions? Just a note about registration. We do have the late fee deadline of July 7th, that after that point, a $30 late fee will be assessed. And the reason we do that is to encourage you to register early. And registering early will help you get your chosen day of formation. If you want a particular, if you want Sunday or you want Wednesday, try to, register before July 7th. We will at some point need to cut things off because we either don't have enough volunteers or we don't have enough space. So registering early will help with that. It'll also help me recruit the correct number of volunteers and order the right number of books so that we're not scrambling at the last minute for additional resources. And also, by the way, we will need classroom catechists. You have done this as parents this past year. You've talked to your own children about faith and presented those lessons. It'll be very similar in the classroom, and we'll provide that assistance to you in our monthly meetings. I will also provide what I'm giving to parents and what we're talking about at the parent portion of the Family Faith Gathering. I'll provide that to our catechists as well, because many of you are parents also.
Therese, there's a question about the Family Faith Gatherings, and is it a requirement if the family does at home only.
No, if it's at home only, you are at home. And you do not have to participate in the family faith gatherings. That is very consistent with what we've done in previous years when we offered the at-home study. And I would also provide to you, the written version of what I'll be presenting to parents on site, so that you do have that assistance as well. But usually at-home families choose at home because of their schedules, and they're really not able to come regularly. So we just say that is no problem, and you are at home. Okay. One other thing, if you're experiencing financial hardship, we do have a financial aid option for tuition. And that's at the bottom of the registration form. And that we would, third party takes a look at that. Everything's kept in confidence. So if you want to email me or talk to me about filling that out, please do so. Okay. Any other questions?
That is it for the chat.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I so appreciate your time. I appreciate the catechists that are on this call too. I love it when you guys come and hear what we're sharing with the parents. So thank you. Parents, if you have a calling in your heart, to share what you did at home last year with other children, to get to know your children's friends a bit better, to have some fun, silly time in a classroom, and to pray with children and bring them deeper to Christ. If you're feeling that pull in your heart, I'd love to talk to you about that. We can make that happen. Okay. So I thank you all. I want you to have a blessed night. And I continue to pray for you and pray for your children, that Christ leads and guides you, and that the Holy Spirit gives you the courage and strength and power to do what you do every day as parents in an amazing way. And I just, again, want to celebrate what everyone did this year. It was an amazing achievement, and we need to party that it's over. We don't want to repeat it. So, all right. Thank you so much, and have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Therese.
Thank you, Therese. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.